Welcome, everybody, here to the X-Bomb Sports Live Show. My name is Andrew Valentin, and I hope you're all having a wonderful Wednesday. We are coming to you live here from the Illinois Media School here in Lombard, Illinois. Again, wherever it is for you, ladies and gentlemen, day or night, I hope it is just right. And with me, unfortunately, not up here on the desk, but he is still the beautiful, the magnificent, the amazing Mr. Drew Gwillem, coming to you live from the back there, folks. Drew, how the heck are you, man?
David?
David?
Is David here?
He is.
Oh, I can't wait to talk to him again. He said congrats, so
Yeah,
I appreciate that.
He said he had sent a little congratulations to you. I know you really want to.
And then he ran away quick.
Well, you just want to really rub his nose in the dirt, don't you?
No, just the way he talked up those two freshman backs. And then they were held under 40 yards. And just the time of possession in that game and the complete ass whooping. It was great. I loved it.
I'm glad you enjoyed it, man. I'm glad you're here. We got a lot to talk about here, ladies and gentlemen. There's a lot of sports we got to go over. Drew, are you ready to do this, my man?
Yep, let's do it.
Let's do this then, folks. So we're kicking this one off with, first and foremost, the Bears. Oh, the Bears. I honestly really contemplated even putting this out there just because talk about another horrible Thursday night game. Boy, really living up to the name. Amazon paid for a terrible-looking product right now. 12-7 is the final score. I couldn't even choose anybody on the Commanders, the winning team, which I usually try to do as the player of the game. I went with Justin Fields just because he had an outstanding game.
Outstanding?
Well, outstanding is, saying it lightly at this point, I guess.
He played decent.
He played decent. The numbers looked good. All right, on paper it looks good, but obviously in a losing effort, not a very.
7 points in a professional football game, it will never be enough.
Yeah,
never
be enough,
especially in today's NFL.
No,
never,
not even close. Well, Drew, I mean, just right from the get-go, 12-7. What did you think about this game from the get-go? I mean, we're gonna dive more into the meat and potatoes on this, but overall, what was your feeling about this?
I fell asleep. Not lying at all. Fell asleep.
Okay.
So, it was a snooze fest. It was boring. It's kind of what you expected going into this game. Neither team is very good. Neither team has. Well, the Commanders have some pretty solid talent, minus the quarterback position. We hope the Bears have good talent at the quarterback position, but they lack it in almost everywhere else.
Yeah.
So it's tough. Neither team really seemed like they wanted the game until a big mistake on the Bears' end, and the turnover led to an easy score for the Commanders, which ultimately put them ahead to win.
Yeah. Oh God, this game, man. This was a very brutal game to watch. If you had the opportunity to. I did watch not all of it. I watched some of it. I didn't fall asleep necessarily, but it was certainly a game that you could have easily nodded off to. I mean,
was that a shot? Are you taking shots at me now?
No.
How'd LSU do this weekend?
They won.
Shot.
They beat Cameron Kennedy's Florida Gators. So
fantastic.
I'm happy with that. Along with some other, we'll get into the losses that happened over the week tomorrow. Drew will have the pleasure of being able to discuss that, as I'm sure he will go on a 20-minute rant about Michigan stomping more so. I mean, look, Fields in this game, I mean, from the very start, I mean, let's just talk about him. He played well for what it was, but obviously the bulk of the game, there was a lot of questionable throws. There's a lot of rollouts that ended up in sacks. I mean, he had some nice runs there for the time being, but I think the big question that's starting to approach the conversation more so is the conversations that are potentially happening between Fields and Getsy and the trust that might be there between the two of them. Does Getsy trust Fields? Does Fields feel comfortable with Getsy's offense? That's becoming kind of a big conversation, it seems, now amongst not just Bears fans, but it seems to be starting to really grow within the NFL. Do the Bears have the right guy managing the offense? And do they have the right quarterback? I mean, and that's becoming a big topic now for Justin Fields because There is no doubt he is right now one of the worst playing quarterbacks right now in the league. Granted, yes, bad offensive line, bad wide receivers. But if we're saying this is the franchise quarterback, if we're saying he's the guy, you would think at some point he needs to be able to take over, right? You would think that. But it seems like more and more he continues to struggle to make that approach. He continues to have problems being able to help that system grow. And I don't know from your standpoint, Drew. I mean, where do you stand with this with Luke Getsy and Justin Fields? Because right now, I'm kind of I'm torn in the middle between the two of them. I would like to say maybe this might be that Fields may not be the right guy, but I don't want to jump the gun on that because we're seeing him with a terrible offense. What do you think?
I think it's a lot of first-time head coaches, first-time play caller,
Yeah.
first-time offensive coordinator, trying to find his groove, trying to play an offense that he wants to run with maybe guys who can't run it.
Yeah.
And that makes it difficult because you have to dial things back and you can't do everything that you fully want to in the game because they're handicapped in what they're capable of doing. Ah, there he is.
There's David.
I just have to pop in here and say congratulations to my boy for absolutely whipping Penn
Under
State.
40 yards between the two of them.
I know.
Oh my God.
What did I say though? Whoever won the run game was going to win that game.
Ooh.
You won. Congratulations, great game. Now go
Wow.
and beat the crap out of Ohio State.
I hope so.
We might do it.
I would love
Doubt
that.
it.
Yeah.
One time, Drew.
Thank you. Good to see you.
Thank
won
you,
this
David
for you.
Dykstra.
Okay, continue. Where
Yeah.
were we?
No, yeah, absolutely. No, I mean, this whole thing with David threw me off there. I saw him creeping in too. I just didn't want to.
Oh,
tell
I
ya.
saw him in the camera. I saw him behind me.
It's true. You do have the other vision. So
Uh-huh.
I don't want to rush to judgment on Justin Fields. No, I don't think anybody does. But I also said I've said this a long time ago. I think I even said this when you were on the show at one point. Where you go matters. And when you're at Ohio State, you feel very comfortable. Right, great offensive line, amazing receiving core, an outstanding defense. You feel very comfortable in that situation. What Ohio State quarterback has really succeeded at this point in the NFL? There's not many. There's not many that have really been able to get over the NFL hump. It's only recently we've seen NFL quarterbacks from Ohio State going in the first round. C.J. Stroud's going to probably be the third guy going at this point in the last 20 years. So, and we don't know if he'll actually be that good. We're seeing the same stuff with him like we saw with Fields. And everybody assumes, he's going to probably be the top quarterback taken. But now you see this with Fields and you go, well, should he be? You know, it becomes a question that I think you need to ask yourself. Did Ohio State maybe kind of not screw him, but ultimately kind of set him up to kind of be like, this is easy? Yeah, I'm not saying every quarterback that struggles is going to be great, but if you don't go through those growing pains, I think you don't necessarily get better. Is that fair? Is that fair for me to say, Drew? I mean, because we've seen a lot of other quarterbacks come from smaller schools and become successful.
Yeah, it happens all over the NFL. Big time names become nothing, and no names become big time. Perfect example, Tom Brady.
Yeah.
And that's probably the best example out of all of them.
Yeah, absolutely.
But yeah, he's used to having all the time in the world to throw, amazing receivers, like you said, and all the talent because it's a big time school, a big time program, and they're able to recruit top recruits from all over the country that want to go to Ohio State and play with that brand and win football games. That's what these guys are there to do, right? Win games. Yeah, I'm with you. Screw Ohio State. But when he has everything in the world at his disposal at Ohio State, and then he comes to the Bears, and he doesn't have close to that.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden, he can't see wide open receivers, and he's not trusting where he's throwing the ball and not throwing the ball because he's not trusting what he's seeing. At times, he's made some really nice plays, but then there's times that he's got guys wide open for a first down, and he chooses to either pull the ball and run or get sacked. And that's on him. There's problems all the way around this team. It's not just what the quarterback and the offensive line are doing.
Right.
It's everywhere.
Yeah.
The receivers not being in the right spots, or the receivers adjusting their route necessarily and getting open, but then him not seeing that or not throwing them the ball when they're wide open because they're supposed to be in a different spot.
Absolutely.
Well, time to adjust. Adjust on the fly. That's part of the game. It's the main part of the game. That's how
Absolutely.
teams win. That's why teams are good.
It makes the difference. It really does. And listen, Luke Getsy's offense, what are we seeing? They're moving the football. They're moving it up and down the field. They can score. It's just when they get in that zone, for some reason, Fields is just missing it by that much. Or by a full country mile sometimes, too. I mean, he has overthrown guys by a good wide margin. Sometimes it's just off their fingertips. He certainly has the skill set to play and be a quarterback in the NFL. I believe that. But I don't know now if we can necessarily I know it's considered to be his rookie year, but let's be honest. We don't know. Right now, I would probably say he's a quarterback that when everything around him is just right, he's probably at his peak. When things are struggling, he's clearly not going to do well. Well, every quarterback's like that. Sure, every quarterback can be like that. But you can see the best ones overcome the lack of talent sometimes at wide receiver, at quarterback, right? Tom Brady, perfect example, right? Had an wide receiving core that considered of Chad Jackson, Doug McDaniel, really no-name wide receivers. Still made it to the playoffs.
I definitely agree with that sentiment for sure. At the same time, Brady is a very well-established quarterback
Absolutely.
at that point. Fields is still finding his way,
Absolutely.
going through the growing pains
Yeah.
of the NFL game.
Yeah.
Because while it's still football, there are definitely differences between the two that you have to be ready for.
And if you look at the NFL right now, Patrick Mahomes and Deshaun Watson, take all this stuff obviously off the field with him, right? When they came into the league, where did they go? They went to the Texans and they went to the Chiefs. What did those teams already have? They had well-established rosters that were just basically a quarterback away
Well,
from
maybe
being,
not the Texans.
Well, yeah, not the Texans need a little bit more
They
help.
had DeAndre Hopkins, and
Right.
that was a nasty combination for a while there.
Yeah, absolutely. But the thing is that what did they do? They built the team before they got the quarterback. That was a huge. And look at the Eagles, right? The Eagles built a team. Then they got Jalen Hurts, and then Hurts is now obviously succeeding because they have an offensive game plan in place, combined with the defense, of course. But they have everything kind of around him locked in place, and he just now makes it kind of go. Right? He's not the final factor. Or not the X factor, he's not the main factor, but he is like the final thing that you just plug in. It's like now they can run. And that's why they're doing so well, I think. And
Yeah.
I think Fields could be that guy. I think that's his best comp is Jalen Hurts, but they need to build the roster around him by next year, and then we can see what he's like.
Yeah. At the same time, Chiefs were already a playoff team with Alex Smith
Absolutely.
when they got Mahomes, so that helped. And then getting Mahomes on
Right.
top of what they had already is just you're just asking for success there. And for the Eagles, they got not lucky with the second round quarterback, but I truly believe they liked him and obviously wanted him since they took him in the second round. But
Sure, yeah.
you're not seeing a guy like that necessarily work out all the time.
No.
And especially where they were able to draft him, and he's improved and gotten better. And that is the hope for Fields, is he can make that kind of jump with throw last year away. To
Right.
me, I know we've talked about it before. This is to us, we're looking at this more of a rookie season, because hopefully that he has some coaches that are going to stick around for more than 2 years before he has to try and change the offense he's running again.
Right.
But it's going to take time. It takes time.
Absolutely.
And that's what we're seeing the worst of it right now, hopefully.
Yeah, it's a build-up, certainly. It's absolutely a build-up. And hopefully we'll be able to kind of see more of it. But the next thing I wanted to get to also is that watching that game, this offensive line, my goodness. I've heard it now talked on the radio. I'm sure, Drew, you've kind of heard a lot of talk about this. As much as we like seeing what Braxton Jones did in the preseason, it's becoming very clear that he's being overmatched. And I even heard, I think it was Molly and Hall I was listening to on the Score. I think Mully was the one that said, is Riley Reef healthy yet? Because if he is, it's now becoming more important to give Justin Fields the proper protection so we can see what he does, and less about let's grow Braxton Jones and these other offensive linemen. Give him the best protection so we can get the best out of him as a quarterback, so we can see, we being the Bears, can see if he is the guy for the franchise, if he is the quarterback for the future. Because right now,
not only that, you do that to protect your quarterback.
right, exactly.
It's the name of the damn game.
Yes.
Protect the guy behind center throwing the football. I don't care who it is.
Right.
Not only to see what you have in him, but just so the guy doesn't get killed.
Right.
Just wait. The next 2 weeks, he might die. He might get killed by this Patriots and Cowboys defenses.
Yeah.
That's not going to be good.
No. Defenses that absolutely can kill you with blitzes, and we're going to get into that here.
And talk about 2 crappy weeks to try and shuffle the line and refigure something out.
Yeah, exactly. Well, and that's the thing, is that it feels like they're in a consistent, like, trying to figure it out, trying to see what mixes and matches. Like, you brought in Lucas Patrick, who was supposed to be the starting center, and yet I keep seeing him at guard while Sam Mustipher, who's really just a backup, and a not looking very good backup right now.
Awful?
Yeah, awful is the word that should be used. He's not getting it done. Why can't Lucas Patrick go back to center? I'm not saying Cody Whitehair is any better. But, you know, at this point, you got to put your best guys out there who have some notion of what they're doing at each position.
James Daniels would look pretty damn good at center right now, wouldn't he?
I would say so. I mean, he hasn't looked all that great, by the way, in Pittsburgh either.
But, yeah, that offensive line's really bad, too.
Yeah, they're really bad, too. But he's probably been the most consistent part of that offensive line, and that goes a lot to say for why they paid him what they did and why he wanted the money. And he knew the Bears have nothing at offensive line. I'm probably your best guy right now. You're going to have to pay me. That's why he shot for the moon at that point. I just don't understand why Riley Reef and Larry Borum are not the tackles at this point. You know, Tevin Jenkins, you want to keep working him in there. You know, it's touch and go with him. It's touch and go with him. I don't even know if you should really be keeping him at this point if you're the Bears. You know, you might want to consider just making him the backup and say, you either win the job next year or we're just trading you or cutting you or whatever the case is. But they need to figure out how they're best set to protect Justin Fields. Otherwise, like you said, Drew, he's getting killed. Matthew Judon is going to destroy him. Micah Parsons will kill him.
That's the most frightening thing right there is
Him and
Micah
DeMarcus
Parsons
Lawrence
coming after him.
Yeah. And Micah Parsons, by the way, has a grudge with Justin Fields because he went to Penn State. As Justin Fields went to Ohio State, he blames Justin Fields for completely destroying their season because they took him apart. I mean, what
there
else
is
does this guy want?
nobody on that Bears offensive line that can come close to blocking that guy.
No.
You might have to put 3 of them on him.
No.
And then everyone else is going to be wide open.
Well, and did you watch? I mean, I know you said you were out, but if you watch that Washington game, you can see they're using some of the receivers as blockers all of a sudden. They're chip blocking off of defensive ends and linebackers. Montrezl Sweat, I think, got 2 chips from Equanimous St. Brown when he would be over on one side or the other, and he would suddenly have to come right in and clip him. And it's like, your receiver should not be doing that. He shouldn't be a guy helping to block with your tackle. Be it Braxton Jones or Larry Borum, they should be able to go one-on-one with those guys. And if they can't, it just spells disaster. It spells disaster. And like in Drew, I think you said it too, right? He's going to get killed. He's going to get hurt. And then what are you going to do? Now you got Trevor Siemian playing. That's not helping the football team. That's not giving you any insight to what Justin Fields can do. That's just saying we need to survive. That's all that is. I don't know where their next steps are going to lead at this point, but to me, they have to plug in. If Riley Reef is ready to go, plug him in at left tackle. Plug him in. Because at this point, this team clearly is going nowhere.
At least at that point, you have a veteran player who's been through it before.
Exactly. A guy who, I believe he made a Pro Bowl. I believe he did. He's at least been consistently in the games. He's only missed X amount of games before. He should probably be the starting left tackle anyways. The only reason that I get the starting job, I think, is because Braxton Jones looked really good, and I got a feeling that everybody was convinced, hey, Ryan Poles hit on one. But you don't have time to develop him right now. I read in a story where he said that his lower body was the problem, that he's not strong enough in his legs. It's not time for that right now. You need to work out on the off season. You can't work out during the regular season to get stronger. That's not the time. That's at least what Patrick Manley said on 670 The Score. He said, this isn't the moment for you to start working out. You got to do that in the off-season program. It says everything about where the Bears are at. They're a little devoid of reality right now, and I don't think it's getting any better anytime soon.
Speaking of reality, they have to play the Patriots.
That's true. They do have to play the Patriots, folks. And boy, oh boy, can this get ugly real quick. So the Patriots right now are the favorite, believe it or not. They're favored by 8 points. 8 points. It's the Monday night matchup. And 39.5 is the over-under. Drew, do the Bears have a shot at any of this? I mean, with the fact that Patriots might be still playing Bailey Zappi.
I don't think it matters who they're playing at quarterback. Bailey Zappi's looked good.
Yeah.
And the Bears have not. Defenses had their moments, but still not consistent enough. Pass rush isn't really there. And
yeah, that's been disappointing.
The Patriots have a pretty good offensive line.
Yeah.
Thus, why a player like Bailey Zappi can come in and have productive games. I mean, yes, he was able to do some great things in college. What did he throw for, like 60 touchdowns?
Yeah, something like that.
Something crazy.
Yeah.
But I know this is different. This is the NFL game. But I still think overall the Patriots are the better team and are going to win. I'm going to say by I'll say 10.
Okay.
And I'm going to go under because I don't think the Bears are going to come close to putting up enough points.
Okay, going with the under on it. All right.
And it's low.
Yeah. All right, I like that.
7 points against the Commanders. I don't know how anybody can expect them to do more against the Patriots.
Yeah, for sure. King B-Mac also chiming in too. He said, God help him if the human turnstile Lucas Patrick ends up with Micah coming at him. Yeah, that's going to be ugly. That's going to be ugly, man. Lucas Patrick he has just not been good. I will say, for the defense's sake, the one guy that does seem to be getting some pressure, Dominique Robinson, I think, has been a nice little gem for them coming off the edge. He has played, I think, really well as a defensive end coming off the edge. So I really like his potential ability, I think, to progressively get better as an edge rusher. But in this game, it's Bill Belichick, who we know is the master of design. The man knows how to put a play together. He knows how to be able to make things happen. I would honestly say right now, as it stands, I would probably give New England 12 points. I'd probably go 12 points on this game. And I would say this game probably hits the under just because I don't know if the Bears are going to be able to score a touchdown. This may just be a field goal game for them, for Cairo Santos, just to kind of get his leg warmed up. There's just no faith in this team anymore. There's nothing about the Bears that gives any confidence to say that they will even score a touchdown in this game. They've just been all over the place, all over the map. I don't know if they have the franchise guy or not. This game did not prove anything to me to say that he did. I don't think there was any growth in this game. You still lost when you should have been able to beat up on the Washington Commanders. Now you're going into New England when they've got momentum going for themselves. On Monday night, under the lights, I don't see it happening. I don't see it happening. So
I'm with you.
Yeah, but we'll see, though. We will see. Monday night is going to be bad, I think, but we'll still watch.
Another primetime crapshoot for the Bears. Great.
Yeah, very much so. Very much so. Well, folks, we're gonna just jump right into the next part of this. We're gonna go into the NFL week that happened. Yes, it's going to be the recap. We did have a fun story to talk about with Snyder, but you know what? I think we'll save that one for when more information comes out, because I think we can all just say Daniel Snyder is a scumbag at this point. But kudos to Jim Irsay for what he had to say about him. So we'll certainly talk about that, I think, in the future. But for the time being, folks, let's look at the recap. Let's look at the week 6 recap before we get into the pick six, folks. So these were some of the top games that we had going on there, folks. So there was quite a few upsets that we had going on there, ladies and gentlemen. I was unsure and not as prepared for some of these as I thought I was. First off, from the get-go, yeah, you can see a lot of upsets there, of course. Drew, though, started off, man, of the games you see up here, which ones really caught you off guard? Did you like any that we didn't mention up here that you liked? I mean, let me know. What are your thoughts?
Just a lot of upsets. I loved seeing the Jets just spank Karen Rodgers around. That was great.
That was great.
That was fun. It was fun to see. How about the New York Giants? I don't know. I don't know how the hell they're doing it, but they're doing it week after week.
Against Baltimore. When they were down, by the way.
No, okay. They did it against Green Bay, and you're like, okay, they're not going to beat Green Bay. Even with their struggles, they're not there. They beat Green Bay. Then it's Baltimore, and it's like, there's no way they're going to beat Baltimore. Baltimore is a good team.
Absolutely.
And then they do it again.
Yeah.
At some point, you have to say, okay, go run away with it. Until you prove us wrong and go on a stretch of 3-4 losses, you got to think that this team's for real.
Is it possible that we are actually sitting here saying the NFC East for the first time in how many years is actually the most competitive of all the conferences at this point? Because it seems like it is. Like, the Giants are 5-1 and they're not even leading their division because the Eagles are undefeated still. And then the Cowboys are just underneath them after losing to the Eagles.
And about to get Dak back.
So you know the level of play is going to pick up. But yeah, the Jets, man, that defense is getting Sauce Gardner is the defensive rookie of the year. That kid's already a top 10 corner. That guy might be number 1 by the year's over. Not a single reception allowed over 10 yards yet. That guy's nuts.
He's playing well.
Oh, my God, he's good.
The Jets are fun to watch.
Which is weird to say.
Right.
And Robert Saleh looks like he's saving his job. He looks like he has found his thing. Be aggressive, run the football, let Zach Wilson make plays where he can make plays, and let the defense hunt. And they are hunting. Jeez. Yeah, Baltimore. I'm getting worried with Baltimore, man. This is the third game they've had a lead and they've blown it. I don't know how many more times they can do this. Clearly, which, by the way, Wink Martindale, the defensive coordinator for Baltimore, is in New York. Funny how that works, huh? Funny how that works. I think they needed Wink more than ever. It shows. Because how do you have maybe one? What would you say, Drew? There's got to be Marcus Williams, Marlon Humphrey. You've got Marcus Peters. They've got to be one of the top defensive back systems in the NFL.
But they have not played well outside of maybe a game far this year.
Maybe.
They've been giving up numbers.
It's ridiculous.
It's been a plus matchup for receivers playing against Baltimore Ravens, and that's not usually the case.
No, it shouldn't be. And I'm sorry, once again though, Lamar plays well, and then he makes a game-losing interception again. Not to take anything away from him being a great quarterback, but this is where you have to be more proficient as a passer. Now they're getting Deshaun Jackson. I don't know if that makes a difference. Do not know if that's going to make a difference. I feel like it may not. More speed on the field, sure, but I doubt it. I was shocked with Pittsburgh.
Yep, just the week in total. The week of upsets between
this was a weird one
between Seattle and Arizona. Not necessarily that was an upset because Seattle's been playing really well.
Yeah,
but the Tampa and the Steelers, San Francisco and Atlanta, the Jets and Green Bay. It was wild.
It was wild.
There's a few good games, but a lot of clunkers.
I mean, I found a way to be able to finally watch Cincinnati, New Orleans by the halftime. That was a great game.
Yeah.
That was a great game. I mean, and not just for Cincinnati. I will give it to the Saints. They are players. They are at the card table. They just need to get that offense
fixed. All of their top wide receivers, Michael Thomas, crazy. Jarvis Landry, Chris Olave, all out in this game.
It's insane, which is kind of good because
Andy
they need
Dalton
to get those other
starting.
Guys. Yeah. But that was Jamar Chase, man. Joe Burrow and Jamar Chase are a real deal connection. Can we just say that? I know I'm boasting here. I need this because LSU's not doing too well. They're
Stop
doing
blushing. Go change your shorts if you have to.
I will. Well, I got to say, though, Joe Mixon's got to get in the game. And then I got to say, Buffalo, Kansas City, it was not as high scoring as we wanted it. It lived up to the hype, though.
Yep, I think so.
Lived up to, and I got to say, best play of the game, that throw that Josh Allen put into Dawson Knox at the end, 3 defenders around him, zips that ball in as he arrives on the route. That takes a lot. All right, let's do this, folks. We got to get into the pick six. We got a Bulls game going on here, folks. We got to watch these Bulls, and we'll talk about them tomorrow. Fingers crossed. Drew, let's do it. It's time. It's the pick six here, Joe. So let's get it going. So the first game, we've got the New Orleans Saints taking on the Arizona Cardinals. So obviously, Cardinals right now are favored by 2, if you can believe it. The over-under's at 44.5. So, Drew, Saints and Cardinals both kind of having up and down seasons. Where are you going with this one, man?
I'm going to go Cardinals here.
Okay.
I think the Saints defense hasn't been playing up to par.
Yeah.
Lattimore's out. I know the Saints have offensive weapons out again. I know it didn't matter last week, but the Cardinals getting DeAndre Hopkins back, he seems like he wants to just roll. Mm-hmm. And I think that's going to help Kyler Murray out a ton. Even losing Marquise Brown, I think getting a reliable weapon like DeAndre Hopkins back is going to help push them over the edge.
Yeah.
I'll say by a field goal.
Okay.
And then I'm going to take the over. I think both sides can put up some points here.
Okay. I like that. I'm going to take – oh, God, this is tough. I'm going to take the Cardinals. DeAndre Hopkins is back. I think that will make a difference. I don't know if he'll go off, but I do think he'll be at least a distraction within the game. He'll be somebody they focus their energy on, especially because he's a big playmaker. So I think that will be a difference maker. I'll say Arizona by 6. And I'll take the over on this as also. I don't think the Saints will score 30 points or something like that, but I think they can certainly at least get into that 26-27 range again. Andy Dalton's been efficient, and Alvin Kamara looks like he's kind of starting to get back in his mode. So
he's back to it.
He's back to it. So hopefully if that can all sustain itself, I think there's a good shot for the Saints, but I'll give Arizona the 6, and I will go for the over on that. Next, we've got Chiefs at the 49ers. Niners we didn't even talk about the Atlanta game. They took a huge loss to Atlanta, 28-14. And if you saw that was not a pretty game. But the 49ers are looking for a bounce back, but it's going to be hard because this is a Chiefs team that just barely lost to the Bills, played really well. Kansas City only favored by 3, though. But the over-under's at 48.5. Drew, who are you taking with this one?
Ooh, both teams are going to be upset going into this game. I think it's going to be tough for the 49ers to compete with Kansas City here. Mm-hmm. I think they'll keep it somewhat close enough, but still at the end of the day, I think 49ers lose 2 straight here. I'm going to give Kansas City by a full touchdown. 49ers might be getting some players back. Yep. Might help out that offensive line, but I still think that they're not doing enough they lost to Atlanta, okay? Yeah. That's not good.
Yeah.
So I'm going to say by a full touchdown, and I'm going to take the over.
Okay. I'm also going to go with a full touchdown to Kansas City. I don't think I'm going to take the over. I think I'll take the under on this. I think Kansas City will score just enough points to just stay underneath. I don't think the 49ers are going to score a lot. Jimmy Garoppolo had some really good plays in there, threw some really good touchdowns. Which I had Brandon Ayuk sitting on my bench. Thanks a lot. But he also threw some bad interceptions. And that's the problem with Jimmy Garoppolo. What you get with the good, you also got to take with the bad. I love the guy. Don't get me wrong. He's a great guy and everything, but he makes some amazing plays, and then he makes some like, what are you looking at kind of stuff.
He's not really the guy you want when you have to make a comeback and throw a ton.
Yeah, as we saw when he played in the Super Bowl, they went behind, and all of a sudden you could see Shanahan's like, we got to lay into the pass. You got to make a throw. You've got to get in the end zone. And he just couldn't do it. He just did not have one. Deebo Samuel was just emerging in that game. That's when we really started to see, like, oh, this guy's really talented. But we didn't know what he was going to become. If he would have been that guy now, totally different probably story. But he's not. He wasn't that player, and Jimmy wasn't that guy. But I don't know where the Niners are at with Garoppolo. This could be it for him with the Niners. Who knows? But I don't see him beating KC again. This isn't a Super Bowl matchup, but I don't see this being another win for them at all. I don't see it happening. All right, next. We go to the Indianapolis Colts. They're at 3-2-1, taking on the Tennessee Titans right now. We believe we're sitting atop the division. Tennessee is favored by 2.5. The over-under is at 42.5. Drew, both passing games have looked bad, but their run games have kind of been up and down, more so with Indianapolis. Who are you taking in this one, man?
I'm going to go with the Colts here. I think the Colts might have found a little something with their passing game last week. Matt Ryan throwing for 300+.
Yeah.
And a few touchdowns. So I think they might be figuring a little something out, plus a much better defense than what Tennessee has. So I'm going to say the Colts by 3. I think the Titans will be able to control some of the clock with Derrick Henry, as always.
Okay.
But so with that, I'm going to take the under on this game. But, yeah, Indy by 3.
All right. Okay.
Sorry, am I boring you?
No. This
Are you
game
sure?
bores me. This game bores me. I've been up for a long time today. This is a tough game for me. I think I'm going to take Tennessee.
What's it like being wrong?
What? Well, it's just because I don't know where the Colts are at, right? You say I think you might be right. Maybe they have found a flow, but at the same time,
all 3 running backs at practice.
This is true.
Found a little something with a guy named Deion Jackson the last couple weeks.
He looked pretty good.
I think they're working some things out.
Absolutely. Look, when Jonathan Taylor's in the game, that's another weapon that they know they can use. Right, he can certainly run the ball. He's become better catching out of the backfield. There's so much that he can do. I have my questions with Derrick Henry still. Is he 100% healthy? I don't even know. I don't even know what's up with Ryan Tannehill at this point. Is he a good quarterback or not? No. But is he a decent quarterback? I still don't even know the answer to that question.
Here, I got it for you. Ryan Tannehill, not a great quarterback. Derrick Henry, fine. He's healthy. He's been running the hell out of the ball the last couple weeks before the bye.
Yeah.
Time to rest. Good to go.
Okay.
Any more questions?
Yeah. Is Robert Woods going to go off for 30 points? Because I'd love that.
Doubtful.
Okay. All right. I figured as much. Well, and the problem is they don't have Treylon Burks. I know he's kind of still on the injured. You don't have your number 2 wide receiver, your first-round draft pick. That's going to be tough for them as well. So who knows? Who knows how this will play out? I'll at least say Tennessee. I'll say by a point, just because I feel like both teams will have their own mistakes that are getting made. And I'll say the under. This is going to be a defensive week. There's just not a lot of good matchups this week, unfortunately, for the NFL. But here's one that might surprise us, believe it or not. In the next one, it's the 5-1 Giants taking on the 2-4 Jaguars. Shockingly, the Jaguars are favored in this game. I can't believe. But okay, they're favored by 3. The over/under's at 42. So they're not predicting too many points. So, Drew, Giants, who are riding high in the NFC right now, versus the Jaguars, are kind of hitting a little bit of a lull. Playing well, but hitting a bit of a lull. Who are you picking in this one?
This one's tough for me. Because
Okay.
I think the Jaguars are better than what their 2-4 record are.
As do I.
Again, some growing pains, still a young team. They have been trying to rebuild, and they're doing that. They've definitely showed some really nice things.
Absolutely.
I don't know how you pick against the Giants at this point. It's tough. It's tough for me to do. They're 5-1, haven't looked great doing it, but they have been doing it consistently. And whatever they're doing is working, as ugly as it's been. I'm going to take the Giants. I might regret it, but I'm going to take the Giants by 3, and I'm going to go with the over.
Oh man, you talk about it being tough. I'm in the same boat with you because I do think the Jaguars can absolutely like tear this Giants team apart and be like a surpriser, right? This can be like a what the hell happened?
Yeah, the first like real ass whooping for the Giants.
Yeah,
and
like both backs go for 100 yards, Etienne and Robinson, right? And
more of what you really thought these teams were going to be
Yeah.
is shows out in this game.
exactly, yeah. Like the
Yeah.
Jaguars are taking a step, and the Giants are just falling on their faces.
You make me want to switch my pick now.
I think I'm gonna go with the Jaguars on this, just because even though they didn't put up big numbers, Trevor Lawrence still looks like he's playing efficient, smart football. They're running the ball well. They're getting Etienne now in the game, which gives them more speed, agility, and gives them another pass catcher coming out of the backfield. Is I think a little bit more of a natural pass catcher than James Robinson. Nothing against James. It's just Etienne's also played kind of that slot receiver, running back position. He can do multiple things. So I'll take the Jaguars. I'm only going to take them by a point, though. Point and a half. I'll give them a point and a half. And it's not to say the Giants can't do it, because I will say this. I think they maybe hit the over. Because the Giants' defense is good, but the Jaguars are fast enough. Christian Kirk, by the way, is proving his money's worth. He's very quick. He's very agile. He's got good route running ability. They got like 3 other receivers that can just play with him. They're just like Christian Kirk gets double teamed and the other guys get one-on-one coverage and we just work with it. And Evan Ingram he's going to be coming back against New York.
Revenge game.
And he's been playing pretty decent. He doesn't put up a ton of numbers, but he gets the job done over the middle and he can make that quick play. So I like the Jaguars, and I'll say it hits the over. The Giants lose this one just because I feel like it'll be a shocking game. This may be a game of the week.
Crazy to think.
Crazy to think, but it might be. There's enough here that could. God, if Daniel Jones and Trevor Lawrence get in a shootout, that'll be the weirdest thing of the week. That'll be the weirdest game of the week for sure. All right, next. We've got, this is even weirder though, the Jets going up against the Broncos.
I don't know what's going on with that one.
Yeah, absolutely. I put
It's even.
Yeah. They're sitting at even right now.
There
The
it
over-under's at 48. Not the Broncos at over 48. They're 2-4. If you want another record, they're 2-4. But obviously, Broncos have kind of just been all over the place. I mean, they're all over the map. The Jets have actually found a consistent formula to play with. And because of that, I don't really know which way I would lean. So that's why I have to defer to Drew on this one, because I don't know which one to pick on this. This is one for me that I'm not 100% certain on at all. But the Jets against this embarrassment that we call the Broncos.
Yes.
Drew, who you picking, man?
I'm taking the Jets.
Okay.
And it's not. Okay, it makes it a little more difficult just due to the fact that the Broncos defense is really good.
Yeah.
They've looked really good without Randy Gregory.
Yeah. Which is shocking, because they paid him $70 million, and it's like, oh, we really didn't need him.
Well, he played well starting, and then got injured.
He's
just going to improve. I mean, I can't remember his name right now, but the linebacker 56.
I think that might be Baron Browning.
Yes.
The kid from the kid that they got in the 3rd round from Ohio State, I think.
And he is balling out.
19 tackles in that last game.
Multiple sacks.
Yeah. He was incredible.
I know it's fantasy football, but I have Russ and Cortland Sutton, so I've been focusing on some Denver Broncos football, which is driving me nuts. But so I've been watching some of it, and I have their defense too.
Yeah.
So watching that even more.
Mm-hmm.
And this dude is playing out of his mind.
He's dynamite.
So that makes it tough. But at the same time, this Jets team is playing so well.
Mm-hmm.
Even if the Broncos defense plays well, now an injury to Russ's hamstring, who knows if he's even going to play?
Yeah.
What does that do to the team? They're a mess, and I don't think it gets figured out against a Jets team that is on the up and playing really well. So I'm going to take the Jets. I'm going to take them by a point.
Okay.
because I do think it's close, and I'm taking the under. Low number, but got to go under.
No, absolutely. I'm going to take the Jets as well because they have an identity of who they are, and the Broncos have no clue who they are. I think Nathaniel Hackett's the wrong guy to be the head coach. I don't know if they should have brought in Russell Wilson. He looks like he's probably done with football at this point. I don't think that means he's necessarily bad. It just means that I think he's probably in the mode of like, okay, I'm just kind of going through the motions.
Russ?
Yeah, Russ.
I just think he's playing really poorly.
Yeah,
He doesn't look like himself. Minus like parts of one game.
it feels like he's deferring to the head coach and he's not making plays because he wants to do what the head coach wants to do, so everybody falls in line.
He looks like Justin Fields out there
He does.
again.
He really
How
does.
often does the guy like Russell Wilson miss wide open receivers? And he's doing it.
Yeah,
He's
they're-
not seeing them. They're open and he's not seeing them.
No,
He's missing
absolutely.
throws. Maybe that has to do with the minor lat tear he has or
It's
shoulder
possible.
injury, whatever it is.
Yeah.
Maybe that's some of it. But even so, like, again, wide open receivers, and he just doesn't see them or not throwing it to him.
Yeah, and I don't know what's up with the run game. If you didn't watch last week, Melvin Gordon got 3 carries and then for some reason got pulled out of the game. Nobody can seem to explain why that happened.
Yeah, they're keeping that real close to the vest.
Yeah, so,
Not performance related, not injury related, but he was dealing with a couple injuries going into that game. I believe
Yeah.
he was questionable going into it.
Mhm.
So maybe that has something to do with it. Who really knows? Apparently he's getting the start this week in this game, so
Yeah.
we'll see.
I mean, listen, for what this year has been, it's been like the year of the complaint to the coach players. Marcus Peters did it. Robbie Anderson did it and got traded. So that'll also be a factor, by the way, in that Arizona game. Keep that in mind. How much will he play and all that stuff. But, like, everybody seems to want to be fighting with their head coach all of a sudden in the middle of a game. So who knows? Maybe Melvin Gordon kind of got in the doghouse with Nathaniel Hackett. I don't know. But bad time to bench your star running back. Your only running back, really, at this point. Nothing against Mike Boone. But who's our other
Latavius
guy?
Murray went into that game and did well.
No, yeah, absolutely.
He ran the ball well.
Absolutely. But Melvin Gordon is a workhorse.
Right.
He's a guy you win games with. So I'm taking the Jets. I'm taking the Jets on a full touchdown in this game. And I'm going to say this probably can hit the over. But I think it's because Denver's defense probably scores a couple points in this. Because Patrick Surtain, top 5 corner. Justin Simmons,
Ooh.
top 5 safety.
Ooh,
Barron,
just coming back, and he's already to his
God,
wicked
he's
ways.
good. They're really good.
Yeah.
And they're wasting it is the problem. Because Baron Browning is now growing into, I would say he's probably in the top 20 linebackers. Maybe top 15.
He's
by the end
playing like it so far this year.
playing like a top 5 linebacker. He's incredible. And you're wasting that talent. You're wasting it. They may need to consider making a trade. Serious trade. They got to get somebody to help Russ out however they can. So I'm saying, I'm staying with the Jets touchdown, and I'm saying the over.
If anything, they need to work on that offensive line for him
Oh,
because they have all the talent they need. They have all the talent they need.
Absolutely.
And then getting a piece in a rookie tight end who looked really nice
Dual
coming
chips
out
can
for
be
his
the
first
answer.
game.
Dual chips can absolutely be the answer, while Okwe just becomes the blocking tight end for them on run games. They could easily have that 1-2 punch. But
Should be.
But like you said, their offensive line, Garrett Bowles is their only all-pro.
And he's out.
Yeah, exactly. So you need to bulk it up if you want to compete. All right, let's get to the last game here. I don't even know why. This is the best one I could find out of the rest. It is the Chargers against the Seahawks. Chargers are favored by almost a full touchdown. The over-under is at 51, though, because we've seen what this Seahawks offense can do. Drew, Seahawks, Chargers, who are you picking in this final one, man?
I'm taking the Chargers. I still think they're the better team. Seattle's been playing way above where I even would come close to considering.
Mm-hmm.
So good for them. I think they can very well keep it close.
Yeah.
While the Chargers have some nice pieces on defense.
Mm-hmm.
They're not all playing fully well together.
Yeah.
J.C. Jackson's not quite himself. He's doing things he's not used to doing, which is kind of what he got paid for.
Yes.
Was to do what he did in New England, and the
Right.
scheme's different here, and he's asked to do different things.
Yes.
So he, again, coming off an injury as well, he hasn't looked great. Derwin James is awesome. He always will be.
He's making plays.
Yeah, Khalil Mack's looked pretty good as well.
Mm-hmm.
It's just Bosa's out, and other positions haven't fully been there. So I definitely believe that the Seahawks can put up points here. But at the end of the day, I'm going to give the Chargers a full touchdown, and I'm going to say it hits the over.
I'm going to go with the Chargers as well, but I'm only going to give them probably 4 points on this game. And that's just because in this last game we saw against the Broncos, that defense got after Justin Herbert.
Much better defense.
Much better defense. Much better defense.
Much better.
Now, the Seattle Seahawks defense is not good. But I'm saying that only because of the fact that Geno Smith, DK Metcalf, Tyler Lockett, and that entire offense is in a rhythm right now that's clicking. And now we're starting to see the emergence of Kenneth Walker III being the guy that can be the running back for the future. And we know how much Pete Carroll loves to use that run game. Kenneth Walker looks like that kind of running back that he loves to use.
And that dude's a beast.
And that guy is a monster when it comes. He can break off big runs. He can make short runs. He reminds me a lot of Curtis Martin in that the short runs are really where he kind of works his best at, but he can break for a long one every now and then. But he's got the ability to be the star and the stud on that team. So I'll take the Chargers by 4. I will say it hits the over because I think Geno Smith's in a groove. It's working. Whatever they're doing right now is in their wheelhouse, I should say. In their wheelhouse. I don't know if he's going to be able to keep this level of play up. This is going to be a tough one, right? J.C. Jackson could easily have 4 interceptions in this game. Derwin James, too. This could be a game where the Chargers just feast, right? But I feel like they've played efficient enough that I think Seattle can at least hang with them. So I will say Chargers by 4, and I will take the over on that. So that's going to do it for the Pick 6, folks. That's going to do it. Obviously, let us know. We want to hear from you guys. What did you think about these picks? Do you agree with them? Do you not agree with them? What games are you looking forward to in the week that we did not mention? Obviously, comment below. Let us know. We want to hear from you guys on Facebook and on YouTube as well. And that's going to do it for the show here, ladies and gentlemen. We want to thank you all so much for joining with us, watching us, listening to us as always. And, of course, I want to say thank you to my man in the back, Mr. Drew Gwillem. Drew, as always, thank you so much, man. Really appreciate you being back there
Pushing
and helping me out and
buttons.
everything.
Pushing buttons and talking away.
Absolutely, man. And you did a fantastic job back there. Our boy TJ would have been here, but he had to make a lot of money. So I'm never going to restrict anybody from making all that money in the world. But Drew, please let the people know where they can find you, listen to you, all that good stuff, amigo.
Oh, you can find me right here on Wednesdays and Thursdays enjoying this wonderful show talking about sports. And find me on Instagram at ddocwill25 and Facebook at Drew Gwillem.
Absolutely. Guys, go give him a follow. Give him some likes. Give him some love. All that good stuff. He will be back on here tomorrow doing his hosting thing where we're going to be talking Bulls and college football. So get prepared, folks. Get your popcorn ready.
I got some things to say about this Bulls team.
Oh, I already have things to say.
And the situation that has arisen, whatever the hell you want to say. Arose.
About.
Yeah, arose. Wow. Funny how it's arose.
Yeah,
arose, and then we have a knee problem.
Yes, absolutely.
Damn it. Okay, go on. We'll deal with it tomorrow.
We will let you guys know tomorrow how we certainly feel. Guys, if you want to follow me, I'm at The Fluffy Guru on Twitter, but of course at Boom Crew Captain on Instagram is where you can always find me. It's where I'm mostly at. If you guys want to follow any more of the show, though, of course we are on Facebook, facebook.com/TeamXBombSports. You can find all of the updates for the streams, everything, videos, updates, whatever you need. Also, well, on the YouTube side, we are on XBomb Sports on YouTube as well. We're actually going to be able to get the domain name for that, so we can finally say youtube.com/XBombSports very soon. But you guys can find us. If you Google XBomb Sports, you can find us. We're the first 50 links you find on Google. You can find us every Wednesday and Thursday, 5:30-ish to 6:30-ish p.m. here on YouTube and on Facebook. Also, too, follow us on social media at XBomb Sports on Instagram and Twitter. And if you have any questions or comments like that, you can hit us up at xbsportsofficial@gmail.com, where you guys can ask us all the wonderful things. We've been getting a lot of great questions and stuff, so we'll start answering those really, really soon. Real quick, we'll just go through the podcast stuff real fast. The Blow the Whistle stuff, radio side, 2 to 4 p.m. on SportsTownChicago.com. You can find us on the TV side, TBD. We're taking a bit of a hiatus while we try to figure things out. Excuse me. There's another show that's currently right now using our Tuesday slot, which is okay, because they're the one that pay us. So be on the lookout for that. We'll give you an update on that. Brandon Januski at 94.3 WMKI. Sorry, I got something stuck in my throat. Excuse me. You can find him on Genuine Country down south if you're going down there to listen to him. Also, find him on his podcast, Jesus Christ. It's Baseball Banter with, I'm dying up here. Baseball Banter with Brandon on Spotify and Anchor. You guys can listen to all the things that he had to say about the baseball season. I'm going to text him and see if he gets new episodes up there very soon. He's been very busy with football and all kinds of stuff in the radio station. But if you're on Spotify, Jesus, check out.
Are you okay? Do you need a pat on the back? Do you want me to take over?
Something's inside of me. It may come up. I don't know. We'll see.
Baseball Banter with Brandon.
Yes. On Spotify as well and iHeartRadio. It's Money Motivation with Hannah B. Hannah, I finally saw Hannah last Friday. She said she's going to get back to the podcast here very soon. She says hi to everybody here in the Boom Crew, everybody who's watching and stuff. So make sure to go check her out, Money Motivation with Hannah B. You can also find her at 102.3 XLC, The Afternoon Drive. She's also doing her thing at 96.7 The Star with Eddie Volkman in the morning. And if you guys want to check out any more stuff as well, you can also see boxing, MMA, all the good fun stuff at the Parlay. Tony Lopez and former Chicago Bull and professional boxer Kendall Gill take it to the ring at theparlay.com. And finally, fantasy football needs. You can check them out. We just went live yesterday. It's the Fake Football Guys on YouTube where they do their thing. So you can find them on YouTube, Fake Football Guys. Check out all their fantasy tips and tricks to help your fantasy season as we are in the thick of it right now. And that'll do it for us here, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you all so much for watching. Thank you all so much for listening. And as always, much love. Peace out, Boom Crew.